There.
I left mine in the car, it always goes off. Try to.
Hey, Angela, I don't know what happened this month, but I got the electronic notice for the meeting, but there was a few of us that didn't get this at all.
But I got it.
Yeah,
So-
she got it. I know that
Yeah.
Scott, myself,
Deb?
and Deb didn't get it. Doesn't really matter. Yeah, no, I'm saying, we're still here. Well, Scott told me he probably wouldn't make it because he had a catastrophe to deal with. And Deb told me she'd walk in any second.
Wally, are you the one that sent the original text? I need to get names on the text.
Ah.
Did
Oh.
the original one come from? you?
Yeah.
That, okay.
Yeah.
got it.
There she is. You walk down here?
Yes.
You did?
Why would you ask a silly question?
Yeah,
She does. She lives
Yeah,
across the street.
I know.
She walks down here every meeting.
yeah, it was just weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Adam, are we live? We are. Yeah. All right.
At least I'm taking them off. It's just
Yeah.
putting them on.
On.
I'm not standing up.
She's ready.
The routine.
Good morning. Welcome to the November 19th, 2025 Sweet Home Park and Tree Committee meeting. At this time, can we please rise and pledge allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. At this time, can we do a roll call of members?
Member, excuse me, I'm already losing my voice. Member Bechtel,
Present.
Member Tucker. Present. Member Shreves,
Here.
Member Patton,
Here.
Member Northern,
Here.
and Member Jones. Okay, and apparently Scott got a hold of you.
Yeah, he
Okay.
did. Yeah, he
Right.
called me yesterday, and said he was having catastrophes
Okay.
and he would try to make it still, but he had no guarantees.
Someone just came in the door.
Yep. So time reports, if anybody has any, please email them to Angela so we have an electronic record. I know Lena and I will have some after today, going and picking up trees, so I'll get those sent in. This time, please look over the meeting minutes. I'll need a motion to approve and a second.
Chairman Shreves, there is an email that you guys have on your desk. Nancy proposed some changes. So we'll need to, when you vote for the minutes to approve them, you vote with approve with changes and if there's anything additional.
Got it.
I move that we adopt our November meeting minutes, this October meeting minutes. Which month were those? October. With changes.
I'll second that.
I have a motion to approve in a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Meeting minutes have been approved. Thank you. This time, we'll give a moment for public comments for the masses out there online that want to talk to us. You have those all under control, Adam?
I do. We do actually have people watching today, though.
All
So
right.
please use your mics.
Yeah. You're saying for me to behave? Yes. And by the way,
That was code.
yeah, for those online, thank you for stopping in.
I noticed the beautification's not on the agenda. Can I say
Oh.
a couple words?
It is, sorry, our stupid template doesn't, for some reason, has it under old business twice. So if the first old business is beautification,
Okay,
I didn't notice that it didn't do that again.
am I on? I think I am. Yeah. Okay, the only thing I wanted to say is that we are making, I call them lollipop pots to put around town, for Christmas. The lollipops, there were 21 that were made and donated by Tina Cullison. I wanted to make sure that her name got in there. We are going to stuff the pots with greenery tomorrow. We'll have them ready. And we did get enough paint cans to put all the lollipops in cement.
Oh,
So they hopefully won't disappear. People won't be able to take them out very easily. And the Public Works is going to put them around town, hopefully before Thanksgiving. So
that's awesome.
anyway, that's about all.
Can I ask, who gave you the paint cans? Just everybody?
I just kept asking people. My brother-in-law is a painter, that helped.
that's cool. Yeah.
But I just kept asking and kept getting
That's good.
more and more. So
Very
it
good.
worked out.
Awesome. I look forward to seeing them
Yeah,
in
me
town.
too.
They're cute. I will just say that.
That's great news. Thank you. Northside Park replacement trees. I think that's,
That's what we're gonna do.
yeah. You want to talk about it?
So we have, I've held the trees that we are going to go pick up today for Northside Park and for Molly's replacement tree. The Northside Park trees are a red point maple and a fall fiesta maple. So one's a brilliant red, one's a rusty orangish. So really pretty colors. Both are fast growing, really nice trees. Molly's replacement tree is actually called a Muskogee crepe myrtle. And looking at it, it's a pale lavender tending towards pink. So it's not a red crepe myrtle. We're kind of sticking to that request for pinkish. So, and I saw a mature tree in the ground and they are really nice trees. So I think this will be the first crepe myrtle that I've planted here. So I'm excited about. Yeah, we just,
I
I
never
don't,
even heard of them until you mentioned it.
you know, you don't see crepe myrtles until fall. And then all of a sudden you start wondering what are those trees with the really pretty flowers in, September? And those are crepe myrtles and they do really well. So
Did you say grape?
crepe, CREPE,
Oh.
crepe, crepe, southern. They're a southern
Southern.
tree. So Wally and I will pick those up today. The Akabono cherries, they did not have in stock, so that they might be more of a late winter delivery, and we'll get that figured out today as well. So for Northside, we have the 2 maples. I also have the native oak that was donated to us last Arbor Day. And so we will put that out there as well. That'll be a good spot for it. So all we'll need to do is get with Sean and based on his schedule and their schedule, kind of pick a day to plan it here.
Has that already been coordinated
No,
with
no.
him? Pick up of trees? Are we doing that or?
Wally and I are going to go get them
Oh,
today.
gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, we'll save you guys a trip. We'll go take care of it. So I just need to figure out Sean's schedule to go out and dig holes and plant them here in the next.
Get an email and get out in front of him.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought.
He's always doing something.
I know you guys are busy, so I asked my friend here if we could go pick up trees.
I don't think there's any hurry to put them in the ground.
No.
They're potted.
Yeah.
Probably
And-
why it's still wet though, right?
Yeah, it'd be nice to get him in, you know.
Just reach out to him and
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll get it scheduled soon.
When we get them today, I was going to bring them back by Public Works to stage them there, if that's okay with you, because the tallest one's about 18 foot tall. So,
Yeah, that's fine.
okay. So we'll see you after we get back.
After the meeting, Lena, I have the,
Vouchers.
but thank you.
Yes. Yeah. Don't let me leave.
I'm glad you could read my mind.
Don't let me leave without the vouchers.
Okay,
So
I have them
um,
right here.
yeah, I have my receipt that they're held, and
Mhm.
I said I have the vouchers, and she's, oh great, just bring them in.
Yep, I have
You
them.
lay those down on your flatbed?
And the cherry trees, those are for Sankey, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Wally went out to Sankey and paced off 2 more spots to continue our Akabono cherry line of cherries in the plaza there. So we have room for 2 more. So I want to make sure we get the same variety as the rest of them. And garland will be a good source. It's just fall, you find a lot of the maples and fall trees, and cherries start to come in the spring. So
And I ran that past Dominic and Sean,
no power, no.
so they're
issues.
aware of it. It just, if you follow the parking lot on the right-hand side as the trees go around, I don't remember, they're like 12 feet apart between each one, and it's the perfect spacing from there on over. It ends up 12 feet from the sidewalk going into the bathroom. It just completes that curve of the cherry trees. It looks incomplete right now, so that completes it and closes that in. So
Those trees are beautiful.
Yeah.
They do make my Harvest Festival planning a little more challenging,
yeah,
but it's worth it.
Well, there's
Yep.
water there, so they'll do, all things equal, they'll do well.
yeah,
So.
yep. And keeping in 12 foot, it's perfect for the
Vendors.
pop-ups.
Yes, it is actually. So, well, between that and light poles, sometimes the light pole and the
Yeah.
tree don't coincide, but yes.
All right. So let's move on to Sankey Park Phase 3.
We actually have some pretty good progress this week. So today, I will be, our committee will be reviewing all of the proposals that were sent in for the trail system. So, and then hopefully we will award that project next week. Well, we have to, the 25th is when we send out the notice of award for
Right.
the trail system. We also met with the Timber Framers Guild. I guess he's the business guy, the guy that does the quotes. So we have a design. They're coming up with the materials list and the estimated cost for us. And then once we get that part done, we will start putting together like community materials so we can start bringing the community together for the process, which at that time we'll also kind of walk through the process with you guys of how that's going to work. But we're waiting to get all of that done. We have to get to that place first
Right.
and just make sure that we can do this. So it's going to be a pretty exciting process. It's just we've got to wait to the steps before we bring the community involved until we're to that point. So I will be putting in an extension for the grant here by the end of this month, but that still only gives us till the end of June to get everything done. So we're crossing our fingers, everything works out properly. So
Perfect. That was the timeline I was thinking it was going to be when we initially started this 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, I mean, we're under pressure now, under
Yeah.
a pretty tight deadline, but we're hoping we're all still pretty optimistic. You know, there's
Yeah.
some things that we're all kind of gritting our teeth, kind of making sure, but like I said, I think everybody's going to be pretty happy with the process once we
Yeah.
get started on it. And so it'll be a neat process, and it brings the whole community together to be able to do this. So
I can't imagine it will take that long once it's in place to put in trails and the sidewalk and
the trail system is a little more challenging, but just because of the topography.
yeah.
But yeah, and like I said, it's a little more process than what we had originally imagined. So that's what we're kind of working through that right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think everybody will be pretty pleased once we're done.
That's
So,
good.
mhm.
Glad to hear that. Definitely a change from the trailer park in Sankey back in the day.
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. There's so many changes in that in the last 5, 6 years. It's ridiculous. and it's busy all the time. So,
So I have a question. So that committee that you have, I didn't know who that was.
It's staff.
Okay. And so are you guys using some of the same ideas that we had given you before?
Ideas for which?
Like, you're not going to do the stand. This is just the trails.
No, the bandstand also. The Timber Framers Guild is who we are working with for the bandstand. So we separated per the grant, it's still the same project, but city council voted to allow us to bid the bandstand separately from the trail so that we could award the Timber Framers Guild the bandstand. So we can work with them directly and take that and bid the trail system separately. So they have specific parameters for the design because it has to be traditional timber frame. And so they have an architect that helped us. They are bringing in some mill architecture, some historical mill architecture from here. And we may get some donated materials from mills here to use, which will be it's pretty cool. There's a story behind it of using the old mill architecture. And so we're pretty excited to get that done. We're just waiting to get the materials list to see how we can accomplish all of it. So, and when we get to that point, the design is still preliminary. So now they're sending it to an engineer to verify because we have to wait to see if, the loads will work and how it's designed, if it'll work engineering wise. So as soon as that gets done, then we will present the design to everybody.
Okay, well, that sounds good. I just know that Wally and others went and looked at different bandstand designs around and stuff.
that's.
Yes.
And brought
In
pictures
general-
back.
From what I've seen, it's in generally the
Is it?
same basic design assembly,
Mhm.
but it's a great idea using them because
Yep.
it's gonna tie in the local community a lot more than what we had looked at, which I think is important.
Yep.
And their building style is definitely, it's a traditional timber style. It's not, like the contracted prefab ones. So it's a little bit different the way this is. And so the design has to fit in with their agenda also with the way their construction is, because not only will they help us construct it, but they also do it's an educational process. So they bring people in and they actually have instructors to show how this process works and how they put these timber frame buildings together. So
How'd you find them?
they actually came to us,
Oh, that's good.
which I had kind of forgotten about. And then I reached out to them and they have one of the guild members is actually local, lives here in Sweet Home. And his daughter happens to be an architect for them. And so she came down, took a looked at some of the materials we had, and then they went and kind of did a history of the town. And then that's how they came up with it. So
That's cool.
Oh, thank you. That's great news.
Mhm.
It's good to see that might finally come to fruition.
Yep.
We've said that for so many different events or ideas that seem like they took forever and forever. And then all of a sudden, look at Sankey Park now,
Mhm.
Compared to what it was. And I just like to also say that I keep going to Northside Park and the dog park is constantly got people in it.
Yep.
I'm surprised how often that is. So happy with that. Great. Well, that's good news. So we have a problem and Rich is here today to talk to us about the emerald ash borer. I'll let Nancy give a little introduction.
Not Nancy.
Or Lena.
I know
Nancy,
Rich though.
Nancy might pipe in.
I do know Rich though, but
Yeah, I'd say. Well, most people know Rich,
yeah.
Rich Little, also known as the Mason bee guy. Yeah, and he's an entomologist. Oh, the bug guy. Oh, well, I was trying to be polite. He is an entomologist.
Oh, Rich.
And we got to get him on the mic too, so we can hear him. Just a little background here. So we've been talking about emerald ash borer as the Park and Tree Committee in the city for a while now, and watching its progression through the state. And Mayor Coleman asked, yeah, we've been talking about it, but do we have a plan? That's probably a good idea. So today, after we listen to Rich's update and some of the things that he's seen and ideas that we can have, I'd like to come up with some next steps of what things can we do proactively in the event that emerald ash borer makes its way to Sweet Home. What's at risk? Any of our ornamental ash trees that we have planted along our streets and our parks on private property. And then, of course, our native ash is the biggest risk because the river bottoms, the creek bottoms, Hobart natural area are full of the native ash. And the landscape will look drastically different if that goes away.
Yeah.
So with that, Rich, I'm going to turn it over to you to take, and they do have handouts. They have the Oregon Tree Health Threats newsletters, the last two ones, which has some good information. They have the fact sheet on emerald ash borers, and we have insecticide treatments for emerald ash borers. So that's a preventative measure we can do for some of our trees. So
Thank you.
thank you for coming.
I appreciate it, and thank you very much for having me here. I'm very happy to share the information with you. And because I wear biological, what's the word, cochlear implants, if I act like I'm ignoring you, please don't think I am. I probably just didn't hear you. Okay. So that being said, in my career, this is what I've done a lot, my past career. I have no good news for you.
Oh,
So I need to put that out right away. This emerald ash borer, and I'm not trying to make it into a big thing, but it's probably going to be the most devastating introduction of a frost pest in this country ever,
wow.
by far. If you look at what the emerald ash borer is doing back east, it's killing ash trees by the millions.
Wow.
When I say millions, I'm talking about hundreds of millions. Very few, if any, of those ashes have any resistance to the emerald ash borer. The other thing is about the ash, the ash tree we have here is very highly susceptible to attack by the emerald ash borer. And I compliment you on taking the lead to do something now, because by the time you realize it, it will be too late. You have a chance to save some of your trees. So what I would recommend is that you inventory the ash trees that you have, whether they're private or not. Just not necessarily every single ash tree, but groups if possible. That way you can make a decision if you want to try to save some of them. It is possible to do that, but it has to be done far enough in advance prior to when the emerald ash borer gets there to have any effect. And it will cost money. To do this, most of the treatments that seem to work are probably done about every other year. I am not familiar with that part. I can't tell you how much it costs or things like that, but I can certainly put you in touch with some people that may be able to help you there. So, what's it going to look like? Well, if you take about 95% of all the ash trees that we have right now and yank them out, that's what it's going to look like. It's not something that's going to be 15, 20%. You're not even going to have that left. So when I say 95%, that's what we're seeing back east. And I don't expect any reason for that to change. So that means if you want to save some of these ash trees, you need to get to them before they show any signs. Actually, several years prior to that, you're not too early. If you don't do this within the next year or two, you'll be too late. Because emerald ash borer is in Marion County. It's very close to here. It's going to be here very soon if it is not already here. That being said, it is not easy to recognize the damage. It takes someone who is trained to recognize the damage, because what happens is when they finally see that damage, especially in the upper canopy, that means the beetle has been there long enough to successfully attack the tree. to lay its eggs and breed new generations, which disperse, then you notice,
Oh.
which by that time, it's way too late. So another way of looking at it would be if 30% of the canopy or more has been affected, you're too late. And 30% isn't that much when you think about it. The other problem is when you look at some of these ash trees are a beautiful tree, but they're never going to win a beauty contest. You know, they're not a noble fir. They look like half the times they're dying to begin with because they have a lot of problems. And so it's going to be harder to detect the emerald ash borer in the midst of all this because the symptoms on some of these things are going to be identical. And so what I do is I go around and I talk to people about this. I am not with ODA or ODF. I'm a retired, what they call an exclusion biologist when I worked for the state of California, the Department of Food and Agriculture. After I got tired of the traveling, I went to work for the county of San Luis Obispo and retired as a deputy commissioner for that department. I oversaw all these things like what I'm describing to you right now. So I have some samples here, which I wanted to take the opportunity to pass to the committee. And basically what I'm asking you to do is you'll see a couple of red arrows. It's that little tiny hole at the end of the red arrow that is what the emerald ash borer comes out as. If you were to take two of these insects, lay them up side by side and put them on a dime, they wouldn't quite reach the edge.
Wow.
They're very small. So it's going to be very challenging to see this. And this, by the way, is birch. This is not ash. So in birch, it's going to be easy to find those holes. If you're familiar with ash trees, they got deep barks and things like that. I mean, it's very challenging. I will be happy to offer my help in any way that this committee would like, both with the emerald ash borer and, for that matter, any other insect problem, as I am an entomologist. So if it has 6 legs, by all means, bring it to me. If it has roots, find somebody else. So I don't know anything about those. So what's a major way the emerald ash borer spreads? Firewood. So whatever you do here to protect your trees in Sweet Home, make that a significant part of your program. How are you going to deal with firewood? You're telling people camp here, and it's a beautiful place to do that. But I keep thinking of this gentleman up by the point, you know, during the summer, he's got wheelbarrows full of, you know, logs, firewood. And so that needs to be thought of and it needs to be dealt with. And there are agencies and nonprofits that do this. So a lot of the stuff is ready, but you need to incorporate it here into this one. And by the way, if you have any questions, by all means, raise your hands, you know. Yes.
So we've talked a lot about ash, but I know that it also can affect other species or not as much. Like,
Well, there is one tree that is not native. It is occasionally used as a street tree. That's acceptable. The other tree that is, yes, the other tree that is acceptable is olive.
olives. Okay.
That's it.
All right. And then
So the range is quite small and from that standpoint.
olive trees. Yeah.
I should mention the emerald ash borer is only one pest on your doorstep. There's another one called mob, which is Mediterranean oak borer. And then we have the golden spotted oak borer. So I'm looking for these things all the time. And so if you would like staff, county public works will have you to have more information about what to look for if they want to take it to somebody. I'm not sure. Should we ask Rich? You're welcome to do that. Please remember that. What I should do is
Yeah, cards.
give you my
This is,
business card.
this
Yes.
is wonderful to have kind of a local person who can, you know, have eyes on our pest issues. I wish Sean were here
I
today.
watch a lot more than you
Yeah.
realize.
Dominic, you know, think of Rich as a resource, you know, if you've got a bug hole or something, Rich is here. We
Yeah,
can,
we actually talk to him whenever we have a question.
awesome.
We know where he lives.
Okay,
You're
okay,
lucky to have
you're
this guy.
tied in. Okay, that is so wonderful. That is great.
So Rich, I go back to your, hi, to your comment about it's very expensive. And so,
It's going to be incredibly expensive.
okay, so tell us how, what's that?
Well, on the worst case scenario, where you used to have a lot of ash trees that were the major overstudy on streams and stuff, that's going to disappear. And so will the fish. This is going to have a tremendous impact on salmon and trout,
Oh, boy.
because when you remove that overstudy, you no longer get the shading. And worse than that, the understory, which needs the shade of the ash trees to survive, will not, because the ash trees are gone. So they will go.
Mhm.
And that's going to have a tremendous impact on water temperatures. And as a result, the water quality. And we have no way around it, because the ash tree is so dominant in some riparian areas that you take it out, you've removed 95% of the tree, period. There is no other tree that we know of that can be plugged in to take the place of the ash tree and to do all the functions that it currently does. So for that, it's like, to get my point across, if you have a favorite fishing area, go out and take some good pictures, because it's going to change. How? I cannot tell you that. But to think there's not going to be any change, that's your head's in the sand. Because if it may not change at that point, it will upstream, it will downstream. And we don't really know what the potential impacts are going to be long term.
So is it your opinion to have them removed or treat them or
No.
no?
If you, first of all, do your inventory.
Okay.
If you find some trees that are special trees, protect them. And as time goes by, depending on how it impacts us here, you can remove the trees. Obviously, don't plant more ash trees. And if you can selectively use the public works to say, well, you know, we got time to move a couple of trees, maybe you can do that. Because if you have a couple ash trees, say in this property right here, and you have a lot of other ash trees, there may be some value in removing those, so you're creating a gap. But we do know that the female beetle can fly 4 miles under, 4 miles under ideal conditions.
Wow.
So it's not 100%. But believe me, I do think it'll be better than standing there and twiddling your thumbs, because if you do this, you will be able to save some. The other thing is, a number of agencies, Department of Agriculture and Forestry and a few others, have started a seed bank program where they are trying to collect good quality, healthy seeds from the ash trees by the thousands, and they're going to breed these with the hopes that they can find some genetic resistance among some of them, with the intent of taking those and then expanding the breeding program, so that maybe down the future, if we can slow the spread enough, that we can maybe start planting some of these other trees. So that's one possibility.
Lena, didn't you say that Ashbrook Park has a lot?
Hobart.
Hobart. yeah,
Hobart Natural Area
Yes.
is a oak ash swale. That's what it is. So,
Okay,
yeah.
Mm. So,
I do have a couple of these which I use for training materials, if you want me to leave a couple with the group so that you can keep them as reference.
Yeah.
This is good because people don't realize how small the hole is.
Okay.
And it's going to be very hard to find out there.
Yeah.
The other thing is, just made me think, treatment programs have a limited value. If you want to know what's going to be most effective in dealing with this, is get a couple of people that are trained and can recognize the symptoms, because they're not easy. But if you have those people looking, then you're more likely to detect the problem. Mind you, it means they're already there and established, but it does give you information that may influence what you decide tomorrow. So, yes.
Where did this emerald ash borer start into the States at, or where did it come from?
Michigan, probably about somewhere around 2002.
How did it get in Michigan?
We don't know exactly, but most likely it came in on dunnage pallets or oak lumber.
Right.
And the other one is wine barrels.
Oh,
Wine barrels.
Yes, that's going to have a very interesting impact on the business there.
Yeah.
But I expect that wine barrels will be regulated. We already have regulations to slow down or prevent the movement. But, all it takes is somebody moving some firewood,
yeah.
which is what we think may have happened in Forest Grove, which
Oh.
is where it was first detected, because that's not natural. You had it all over the East Coast. You had one location in Denver, Colorado, and then that was it until it showed up in Oregon.
Oh,
So we have not found it anywhere else but the 6-7 counties so far, especially south of Portland up to about Marion and a little bit that way. That we know. Traps don't work well.
Yeah.
Not anywhere near as effective as visual, keen eyes trained to look for it. So I don't think you want to go the route of putting all these traps up, because I doubt if anybody's going to want to pay for you to monitor them. But if you want to put some up for the public, I can help you with that.
is there a natural predator to them?
We are working on some parasitoids, which are small parasitic wasps. And it's much too early to say where we're going with that, but we're hopeful that we can. It's kind of like we got this big problem, which is emerald ash borer. If we can keep chipping away at it, we might not get rid of it, but we may slow it down.
Right.
So those are all factors that we should consider.
so since we don't know a lot about it, well, who do you recommend to help with inventory?
Well, I've already got an inventory
good.
of our
Good.
street trees and park trees. Inventory's good.
Finding
Yeah.
the trees. Okay.
As for additional resources besides Rich, I've got contacts still with Department of Ag and
Good.
ODF. And then when we look at preventative insecticide treatment, then I can work with those folks to kind of figure out who's doing the treatment, the right chemical.
Good.
The other thing I wanted to mention too is once a tree has been successfully attacked, it's probably going to be 3 to 4 years before you will detect that that tree was attacked, which is another reason why most of the normal treatment procedures we use are not going to work that well with this pest. So,
The lag time is too long for.
yes,
Okay.
because once they breed, we lose track of them.
Yeah.
We put out traps, and we found, as I mentioned earlier, that a keen pair of trained eyes are better than a trap, because we've had these trees, we know they're there, but the trap's not picking up anything. And over here is picking up a whole bunch. Where are the trees? So
Interesting. What about, you mentioned trapping, what about, and I guess besides trapping and insecticidal prevention,
well,
what
there's
happens?
basically two types of treatments that can be done. One is a stem injection and the other one's a soil drench.
Okay.
I'm not really familiar with either one of them. Pesticides are not my specialty.
Yeah.
6-legs are. That being said, you can contact probably Portland or any of the surrounding cities. And they've already had experience.
done it, yeah.
Already doing this to protect some of their special trees.
Yeah.
So if you talk to them, they can give you the
They can-
information you need.
So we can get our public works kind of keyed into cities that have already treated. What happens if we do have a major infestation and detection? Can you talk about quarantines? What ODA is doing for
We have
quarantines?
existing quarantines around the counties, and basically, as a precaution, if they say it's right here, they just quarantine the whole county.
Okay.
Makes it easier. That will continue,
Okay.
in my opinion, probably for the next couple of years. But there's going to get to this point where it doesn't matter where you go, east, west, north, or south, you're going to find them. In which case, the quarantine disappears.
Matter.
And this quarantine is state. It is not federal. So the regulations, the rules and everything are different. But, and I know ODA and ODF are working closely together
Mhm.
because they need to do so. One other thing, if you do this and you think you have the emerald ash borer in a tree, please do not announce that.
Yeah.
There's several reasons. One, you legally can't make the ID because it's a quarantine pest. Because that can be all kinds of problems that are caused if you say, oh, we got it here. Well, if you make a mistake, you cannot undo that damage. On the other hand, it also helps us track. So that's just something that I met all the time in my job. Whenever there's, oh, I know what this is, and they tell the world. Well, believe me, we had no clue what emerald ash borer was when it was picked up and found in Michigan back in 22, or 2020, that is. Anyway, they'd never seen it before. You could show that beetle to any entomologist in this country and nobody knew what exactly it was. We had to go to the experts in Europe who told us what it was. And they found it the same way we did. It popped up because emerald ash borer is basically from Eastern Asia. So it moved into Europe like it moved in here, and it's moving into other parts of the world. And in its native area, it's a low-grade pest. But here, it doesn't have any of the natural enemies like the wasp that I was talking about, or other things. Here, woodpeckers like this beetle. But if you see the damage that the woodpeckers do to the tree to get to these beetles, it practically kills the tree. So that's not going to be a very good way to do it. But it is also a good symptom. If you see a tree that woodpeckers really, really like, you should go look at that tree just to check it out. And that being the thing, again, if the committee has any kind of entomology question, you're welcome to contact me by email, and you get the business cards here.
Yeah.
So
So,
I can keep going, but I think you get the point.
We got the point.
so is your contact you, so are you free of charge, or you have a fee?
I'm a public servant
Okay.
and have been since the very beginning. I always will be.
Thank you.
I'm an instructor for the Master Gardener, for the Oregon Naturalist, for 4-H. I do these things because that's our future.
Mhm. Thank you
Yeah,
for
that's
doing
all.
that.
You might have actually given me a reason to finally like a wasp or a woodpecker, because they're not my favorite around my house right now.
I get a lot of calls about that. Um, they're all good.
Yeah.
I tell people, as strange as it may seem to you, I have never met a bad insect. Never. I challenge you, and I don't think I ever will. What I will say is, yes, some insects do things we don't like, but that doesn't make it a bad insect because each one has a place. And if you saw the complex that keeps something like the emerald ash borer under control, wasps are definitely a major part of it, a very significant part, especially with these small parasitoid wasps, which, just not to give you a biology lesson, but they lay their eggs inside the eggs of other insects. So you see how small they are.
Yeah.
And I can tell you just how small. You take a metric system, the wingspan of the smallest in terms of a metric system is 0.13 millimeters. That means 7 of them can fit in a hole 1 millimeter wide.
Yeah.
Okay, lesson's over.
Thanks.
So moving forward, what I would like to suggest, because we need to have a process for reporting this and for having contacts. So I would recommend that we, staff can get together, Public Works, and we'll figure out a process, staff point of contacts. And then we will work with Rich and probably Lena to figure out how we move forward. So before everybody goes out and inspects
Yeah.
trees and starts bombarding Rich with phone calls, let us come up with points of contact. So we have one point of contact at the city. You would report that to the city, and then the city would have a process in order to move forward. I also think that, you know, as we move forward with some of our events, that we also add in, besides just our preventative and maintenance, that we have kind of an educational campaign when we start moving forward with this and how we're going to do it. So, like I said, thank you, Rich, very much, because this is a very serious thing, you know, and, but I think we also need to have a structured process to go out and not just willy-nilly, because we don't want to panic
Yes.
people.
Oh,
And we
appreciate
don't want
that.
everybody, you know, up in arms about a beetle coming in. So we need to have a process in order to do that so that the community doesn't freak out or us. So,
So I've kind of started on a bit of a process. I wanted to hear from Rich and kind of fill it in. So anything from, I'll start with what I have on inventory. I'll do some work on early prevention with insecticide applications. So I'll do some research there for contacts. Burn It Where You Buy It campaign. I've actually started doing these, coloring sheets for little kids. There's a whole campaign on Burn It Where You Buy It. So I suggest we kind of look into that and tap into those resources. Don't plant ash trees. We've not been planting those. They'll come off of our tree list. So I'll do a little bit of a write-up, Angela, that we
Okay.
can kind of start as a group working on.
Okay.
And then I think at some point it would be nice for Counselor Erin Heggie to take it to maybe City Council.
Mm-hmm.
And then at some point I feel, we should close the loop with the mayor since she originally asked on this as well. So, but you've given us a lot to think about.
If you have questions, you're welcome to contact me, but not by phone.
Yeah.
I don't do well on phone,
Okay.
and you're going to drive my wife crazy.
Okay. Okay.
Email me somewhere in the subject line, put bugs. That will get my attention, and then I toss all the other emails out.
That's good to know. Good to know.
all right. Thank you, Rich, very much.
Yes.
My pleasure.
Thank you for coming and
Thank
scaring
you,
the
Rich.
crap out of us.
Yes.
I appreciate it. Actually, what you don't know is what will kill you. So it's good to have the
I'm going to do
information.
my best to make you know.
All right. Thank you.
Gift.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Here's your.
Oh, cool.
Thank you for coming. Should say plant trees, but ash.
Thanks, Rich.
Okay,
Gonna give one to them, so they have it. Mhm.
now that we know some about the emerald ash borer, I'm sure there's a lot more to learn and prepare for and to think about. I did not know that it was only in those select locations, and somehow we got to be wonderful enough that it hit Northern Oregon. So that stinks, but we'll take this information and move forward with it.
And my concern, like you said, I mean, it has to have a lot of action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I think it's got to have more action than our committee. I think this is like it just feels to me like it should be some form of a national event item that, comes under the federal government looking at it, since it's in more than one state and it's going to spread. If they can fly 4 miles, they're going to spread. Firewood's going to spread. They move stuff all the time. So. Okay. 37 states.
And actually, the federal government kind of quit with a federal level quarantine years ago because it had spread so far in the east.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah.
Huh. Okay. Well, I guess that means
It's a state campaign.
it's coming and we'll just have to work to deal with it. Okay. Let's move on to roundtable discussion. I have a question. When does the budget for the city get approved? What month? Is that a May, June thing?
Typically, yes, because our budget year starts July 1st.
Yeah. So for this committee, every year, one of the things we do is look at the budget, and make any recommendations. We should probably do that in March.
Well, December, according to your charter, December is when you guys start talking about your priorities.
Yeah.
And then,
Well, I'm talking like, this is the day we got to have it done by this.
I would say it needs to be earlier than March.
Yeah.
I would say January, February, come up with your list of priorities. And
Okay.
then they can, that way it gives the counselors time to review. Public Works, everybody has a little bit of an input once you put your priorities in there, and then they have to see where that fits into the
Sure.
budget. So
So maybe next month, I'm sure somebody has a financial thought process of a general budget for the parks and tree for 26, 27. It would be good if we had some clue if it was, and I don't need a number. Is it going to go up, down, or stay the same? Just kind of a generality so that,
I would say probably not go up.
yeah,
So, but I don't know, considering the amount of money that phase 3 is taking.
Yeah.
I'm going to say the park and tree budget is probably not going to be as high as it has because a lot of the funds have to go toward that project. So
okay. So definitely,
don't quote me on that because
Yeah.
I'm not the finance
Oh, I know.
director, but just knowing what I know about this project and everything that's going on, that there's probably not going to be as flush to do projects the
Yeah.
next fiscal year.
in my mind, I was thinking all this. So by next month's meeting, this is an important note for the committee. You need to think about it before next month's meeting. And when we come in, we as a group need to talk about it. Not offline, but back here in this meeting next month and talk about what we would like to see. And I think that the phase 3 is an important part of the budget, getting that completed, because we've been on that for a while. And I think once phase 3 there is completed in Sankey Park, we can move on to something else, to another part of the town that needs developed with parks. Whether that's the park on 42nd being put in, the one next door here, upgrades to North Side, whatever park needs more work. We could look at it in future years, but we probably need to talk about, like, when we come back, we talk about next year and 3 to 5 years down the road, the direction that the city has housing moving. And, you know, with the schools and where the population uses the parks. Where does the public park come in? And think about things like the, as we call it, the Quarry Park. You know, how much money would somebody want to put into that? And again, don't just think the money that the city has. Think about, as was talked about before, who could sponsor a park to make something bigger, better, greater than it is. We need to have some way to have wood there that people don't bring in. So there's wood down there.
And Chairman, what we'll do is, so staff has been busy with grant writing and different
Mhm.
things that involve parks. So I will get an update of what's already in the process,
Yeah.
which may affect some of your priorities because there are already some other projects in the works,
Sure.
depending on grant funding and depending on how the next fiscal year goes. But
Right.
I will let you know what those things are at our next meeting also.
Great.
Because there are already some things in the works.
Yep.
And so we'll kind of run down a review of that.
Yeah. Yeah. I just wanted to get everybody thinking about that before, because it seems like we always do this in December. It seems like we've started talking about it then and had a decision on things to make a recommendation to council in the earlier, you know, right around late winter, extremely early spring. So, but if we don't get started on it, we won't get there.
So we can look back at what last year, if you guys to keep your records.
Yeah.
And look back and see what was talked about too.
Yeah.
You can always go online and all of the meeting agendas and packets and minutes are all online too. So you
Yep.
can go back and find those meetings. So
And one thing we haven't talked about in this little discussion is that council made a commitment, almost a couple $100,000 to Weddle Bridge. And we really haven't made any movement or exactly what we're gonna do in that. So I would imagine that might even be a carryover project. And I would imagine that we're not gonna let Weddle Bridge out of our minds.
No.
So,
right.
yeah, I think
Definitely not.
that's a big project to look at as well for next. So.
Yeah. Thanks, Greg. So next month, let's make that a focal point of the month is budgets, future 3 to 5 years, and the following year, and see we can get started on a plan versus wait until the last minute. So I'll try to send a reminder text out to everyone, you know, a week or so ahead of time, just as a reminder to take a look at that.
So I could read the minutes, but Mr. Hagee, could you tell us what the council talked about with Weddle Bridge?
I don't remember the exact amount. I don't know if it was 125,000, but there was some money that was set aside specifically for the Weddle Bridge project restoration.
And like, I mean, did you have a plan? I mean, what's
That money was just, I think that was allotted there to help if we need to match grants or
Okay.
just, yeah.
Okay.
that's good.
That kind of
And there are some plans in place. The biggest thing is getting an engineer on board, and there is actually some things in place that we might be able to get that. But this is not going to be a project that we're going to rush.
Right.
And so even though we have the money earmarked for that, it's not going to go away. So, but there has been some talks recently about, which I haven't caught up with Greg yet, so he doesn't know this, but and actually just yesterday. And so there may be a process for us to find some help, find an engineer. I have made some contacts, so we need to get Sankey Park Phase 3 done first, and then we can start concentrating on that. But there is already some contacts made that we might have some possibilities of some assistance.
So last time, I think it was last year, maybe the year before, there was an engineer that took pictures and different things. Is it that same guy?
No,
different company.
No, they just came in to assist you. It's very specific who you have to hire to do that. So, and I have some contacts for that. So just recently. So.
And just from my experience on the committee and now working with a public entity, I'll just remind everyone that it ain't going to happen quick. It's going to take some time. It's not like what I do at the house. It takes years. Like, just look back at Sankey. I think I got on the committee in 2014 or something, and we were talking about it then. And it's going to be 2026 before we finally get to where we're getting close to closing it out. So I don't expect the bridge to take that long because just it's smaller, but it's still going to take some time and to do it right. And there's a lot of governmental processes that have to happen. So just keep in mind that it's a good thing that we're moving on it.
Just a reminder to the committee, there is some behind the scenes stuff going on trying to possibly get the bridge as a historic site or a historic designation. We don't have the results of that yet, but depending on how that goes, could also have some very specific criteria
Oh, yeah.
for what fixing it looks like, which could draw it out further.
Yeah, I do remember that because that was a reason we talked about not doing that
Correct.
because
So
it
that
can make it really hard.
also possibly going to add some extra time on it as
Yeah.
well.
But there's pros and cons to getting a historic designation. One of the pros is funding opportunities. So that is the reason why we push forward with it, because yes, there's restrictions, but we may have more funds available to us to be
Yeah.
able to apply for if it has a historic designation. So,
Yeah.
you got to outweigh the positives and the negatives there of
Yep.
what we might be able to accomplish.
yeah.
So.
No, that makes sense. I just want to make sure everybody's aware. It's not going to happen overnight and it won't happen in 26. So I would actually bet my life on that one.
Don't do that.
Wally.
No, I bet my life on
Don't
that
do
one.
that
Quick question on the bridge. Is it gated off, closed down now because of vandalism?
Yes.
Okay. And will stay that way for the foreseeable future, probably. Yes. Okay.
Until chief says open it.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw a post on Facebook about that and it was pretty well explained to all the people on there that the vandalism on the bridge is what's killing it and not letting people go across. And there actually wasn't anybody that overly complained because it was locked once that was brought up. So I don't think people understand, especially when somebody said we should put in a camera and somebody said they did and they tore it apart and took it down. So
Yeah.
people understand that. So I don't know how we're going to fix society, but
Yeah.
that's beyond my scope. So any others?
I have a question.
Yes.
Since I missed the Ivy poll that you guys did earlier, Deborah took me out a day and kind of showed me the ropes. And while we were out there, we met a community member who was interested in helping. How do we handle that? I mean, is this something I can go out individually and work on Ivy on my own if I just want to get outside and do it? Or if people ask, are there areas we focus on? I just don't know what the protocol is and how to answer questions when they come up from the community.
Just from my perspective, I think it would be good if we did it with those people as a group. Because then we can coordinate with Public Works for the recovery of the removed ivy. And then they have an idea what's been worked on and what hasn't versus people just going out and ripping ivy down.
Okay,
on their own.
well, and then
Yeah.
as committee members, is that like, do we just do it as a group, or is that something we can pick away at on our own time in places?
No, I think we should do it as we've been doing, where we go out as a group and try to hit it.
Okay.
And Deb keeps me on track with, hey, when's the next one? And we probably should continue to do that and schedule the next one and the next one. And because like I said, I coordinate it with Public Works. I just get hold of Sean and say, hey, we're going to do it this time frame. We'll have the piles. You can get them whenever. And it doesn't take them but a few minutes to go get them, but at least they know and they can remove the debris and then they see what's going on.
I think she's asking about volunteers helping.
And
Well, and we had somebody who's interested and I got his number. So what could I tell
So,
them? Like,
Melanie, I did have someone come in, fill out a volunteer form
Oh, okay.
for that.
Okay.
So that's first and foremost, the most priority. So if they're going to be working with you all in the committee and on public land, they need to come do the volunteer form.
Okay.
And so before you guys just go pick that up. And then I guess a way if you guys have a list of the volunteers or how we keep track of that, because I don't always know who these
Yeah.
people are working with you guys. So just making sure to coordinate with them so that they're with the group and know the proper
Okay. So if there's
safety and
interest, direct them to you first,
Correct.
fill out a volunteer form, get on a list, maybe.
Well, we can
Yeah.
bring volunteer forms with us as well.
yeah.
Okay.
And have them filled out. And at the end of every one of our work sessions, I always send Angela a list of names, who was there, hours worked, so that we have that for the time reporting, because that counts for
Mhm.
part of our Tree City USA for the following year. So,
Yeah, and just
need to
because
keep those
someone fills
hours.
out a volunteer form doesn't necessarily mean I know what they're filling it out for.
Yeah.
So if they can let us know, because otherwise I don't know to put them on the list saying, yeah, there's going to be an Ivy poll on this day. If they just fill out a form and I'm unsure why, then I don't know that that's what they're there for. So,
Okay.
um,
and I did go back after our last ivy pull, and I took my little chainsaw and cut those great big ivy ones that we couldn't get off. And I didn't take a pry bar and pry them out. So I don't know if they'll grow back together once I've cut them in two, or if they need to be pried out also. Yeah, they were 6, 8 inches in diameter. They were like ivy trees on trees. So I can go back and pry them out. I mean, I just didn't do it. Minor stuff. But yeah, that was the biggest ivy I've ever seen. So it might have been there a while.
I call it old growth Ivy
Yeah.
Yeah.
when they're that big.
Yep. So
Another question. Our Tree City paperwork application, if you need help, Angela,
Okay. Yeah, I'm still
holler.
putting in all the time and I'm getting reports from Sean and Brian. And then they're also now sending me, because I also have to do leaf pickup. So there's a whole lot of other things that I have to keep track of.
Reporting.
Yeah, so I'm working on that. It's due December 15th, I think. I can't remember the exact
Seems
date. I
like
have to
it's
look it up.
mid-December.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I'll let you know here after, the first, I'll let you know how far I am at it.
Okay.
So I appreciate it, your help every year. And we should qualify for the grant this year because we didn't apply
That is
for the
true.
last couple of years.
That is
So,
true.
yeah, so we
That's
need
the
to.
Oregon Community Trees Program
so, yeah.
grant
The
for
one that
Arbor
we-
Day.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. I will put
so
that
we need to
on
kind of
my
have a
list.
Yeah, we need to think about that. So, and you and I can work on putting that in.
Okay.
Because I think that's due the first of the year at some point. I have to go look.
Seems like it was more February-ish.
That's, yeah. I think
Yeah.
So,
It's the grant we've used in the past for our Arbor Day event and activities.
Mhm.
So,
Yep. So looking forward, the next few months, activity wise are generally slower for us. Would be good to pick another day to do an ivy poll in the next couple months. We'll do that next month. We'll take a look. That means Deb's gonna send me some messages of what she sees, where it's at. She's our ivy specialist. And we'll focus on the budget, and then looking into next year, Arbor Day is coming. So in January, we need to have a plan.
so hold off on your plan because there's going to be a bigger celebration
Yeah.
along with Arbor Day.
Right.
So, the city is actually doing a celebration, and Arbor Day celebration with Park and Tree is going to be included in that. But there's going to be a larger celebration in the park all together. So don't have the details yet, so I'm not going to get into it, but
Yeah.
I'm just letting you know that there's going to be a little bit larger celebration this year that is going to go on, and Arbor Day, we're going to combine the two.
okay.
Okay.
Is it a birthday or historical milestone?
There's
or-
multiple things going. Yeah,
Okay.
we're going to have a few different things this year.
Thank
So,
you, Rich.
So yeah, so before you get too far into that, just know that
Okay.
it's what the committee does for Arbor Day can stay the same.
Yeah.
What you want to hand out, what you want to do that, but just be aware that there's going to be a larger celebration that it's going to be included in that.
Okay.
So,
More people.
We'll let you guys in.
okay, thanks.
And we'll have a tree planting date too.
Yeah.
for Once I find Sean.
Yep. Okay. Any others? That concludes our November 19th, 2025 Park and Tree Committee. Matthew, thank you for everything today.
Where did a year go?
Glad to be here.
Couldn't resist.
Put it on time.
Yeah.
You beat